There's this really comforting lie we all tell ourselves.
Mm,
It's the idea that intelligence is like a shield.
mm.
That if you're smart, if you're sophisticated,
Right.
you're safe.
Right. We assume scams are for, the gullible, that they're
L-
easy to spot.
Exactly. We think we can see them a mile away because
Mm.
they look dumb. Misspelled emails, a prince needing help,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
But the whole premise of our deep dive today just tears that down completely.
It really does. We're looking at a set of notes called The Integrity of Judgment in the Cognitive Age. And the core idea is, honestly, it's pretty terrifying.
It is.
It suggests that in this new era, your sophistication isn't your shield anymore. It's actually the weapon that's being used against you.
It's a total inversion. The argument is that we've gone from fishing, just, casting a wide net, to mimicry.
Mimicry, yeah.
Yeah, the bad actors aren't using generic lies. They're mirroring your own specific worldview back at you so perfectly that you just don't realize you're walking into a trap.
So let's set the scene. This isn't just theory. This is a real case study of a near miss the author almost fell into.
Right. So the author launches this pretty high-level project, the cognitive revolution. Think systems thinking, philosophy, strategy, serious stuff.
Okay.
And because of that work, they start getting approached for professional gigs.
Which is what you want, right?
Right.
You put good work out, people notice. Standard stuff.
Totally. But this one outreach, it was different. These potential collaborators, they didn't sound like scammers or even marketers. They sounded like peers.
Give me a flavor of that. What were they saying that was so different?
Well, they were using the author's own words, their own lexicon. They weren't talking about, synergy or profit. They were talking about judgment over momentum.
Okay.
They used phrases like restraint over amplification and integrity over visibility.
Wait a minute. Those were the scammers talking. That sounds like it's straight out of the author's own playbook.
That's the point. That's exactly the point.
Wow. That is wild. It's like writing a book on a niche topic and someone shows up who speaks your exact dialect. It feels like fate.
It feels like validation, and that's the hook. The author calls it the narcissism of the niche. It bypasses your skepticism and goes right for the ego. You stop thinking, is this real? And start thinking, finally someone gets it.
You feel seen, and then you stop looking so closely.
Precisely. And the source notes, they make a really crucial point here. That shared language, it became the very terrain on which trust needed to be tested.
Because they knew the password, the author just assumed they belonged in the room.
Exactly. But in the cognitive age, knowing the password is cheap, and AI can learn your vocabulary in a second. We treat sounding smart as a proxy for being legitimate, and that's a huge vulnerability.
Okay, so the hook is set. The intellectual connection is there. But then things start moving into the real world, the mechanics of the deal, and this is where we get the first signal.
And this first signal is just. It's so clever. The author calls it weaponized discipline.
I got stuck on that phrase. Usually you think of a scammer as someone who's rushing you, act now, limited time offer.
That's the old model. Create urgency to bypass thinking. But these guys, they did the complete opposite. They used the author's own principles of slow thinking against them.
How do you even do that? How do you weaponize integrity?
Okay, so the author starts doing the basics. Hey, can we hop on a quick video call? Can we get a standard contract in place?
Due diligence, normal stuff.
Right. But instead of a flimsy excuse like, oh, my camera's broken, they pushed back on philosophical grounds.
Philosophical grounds for a Zoom call.
Yeah. They said things like, we prioritize phase diagnostics before allowing for visual biases, or we have non-negotiables to ensure the purity of the judgment work.
Oh, wow. So they made the video call seem like a distraction. Like, if you really cared about the deep work, you wouldn't need to see our faces.
It is diabolical. It's a form of gaslighting for intellectuals. If you push for basic verification, suddenly you're the one who isn't being rigorous. You're the shallow one.
That is just so manipulative. But, okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
I know some brilliant people who are, let's just say, eccentric. They have weird processes. So how do you tell the difference between a quirky genius and a sophisticated fraud?
That's the core question, isn't it? But the author gives us a really good rule of thumb for this, a maxim.
Okay.
When rigor is used to defer accountability rather than support it, That is a signal.
Break that down a little.
Real professional rigor makes things clearer. A good contract clarifies terms. A good process clarifies timelines. Rigor is about bringing things into the light.
Yeah.
But here, the rigor was just making things foggier. It was a lever to stop questions. If your process means I can't know who you are, that's not rigor. It's just camouflage.
I like that. Discipline should lead to clarity, not mystery. So that's signal 1. What comes next?
Signal 2 is a lot more tangible. It's called asymmetric friction.
Ah, now we're talking about the money.
I always follow the money, or in this case, the lack of it.
So the author describes this whole cascade of administrative friction. It wasn't just one failed payment. It was the pattern.
Right. It was repeated platform failures. Suddenly, they have to use a new intermediary. Then they're asking for payments to, like, a personal account under a totally different name.
And the pressure was always on the author to just try one more thing. Can you try this app? Can you send it here instead?
Exactly. And this is where the author makes this, I think, brilliant systemic point. They write, systems don't fail randomly in only one direction.
Oh, that's so good. Unpack that.
Think about it. If a system is just buggy, if it's just random chaos, sometimes the glitch should be in your favor, right?
Yeah, like you get paid twice by accident or something.
Randomness is random.
Yeah.
But here, every single glitch, every single failure pushed all the risk onto the author and moved the money toward a black box.
So if every simple task becomes complicated, and the complication always benefits the other person, that's not bad luck.
It's design. Legitimate businesses want to reduce friction. They want to pay you. You want to get paid. Everyone's pulling the same way. When you feel like you're the only one trying to solve the problem, you need to stop.
It's a great point. We give technology the benefit of the doubt in a way we never would a person. We just think, oh, banking software is weird.
And that leads right into the third signal, which feels a bit like a spy novel to me. Identity incoherence, or the hollow middle.
This is where all the little details just stop adding up.
Yeah. The author starts noticing small things. A name on an email doesn't match the signature, an account belongs to a third party, an accent doesn't quite line up with their supposed background.
But again, any one of those things, you could explain away. Oh, he's using his wife's account because the bank is acting up. You can rationalize it.
For sure. But when you zoom out, what you see is a total lack of what the author calls structural coherence.
Okay, this is a key concept. Let's define this. Semantic coherence versus structural coherence.
Right. So, semantic coherence is the surface. Do the words make sense? Is the jargon right? Does the story sound good? And in the age of AI, semantic coherence is basically free.
The story sounds perfect.
Yes, the narrative is flawless. But structural coherence, that's what's underneath. Does the reality support the words? Is there a real company registration, a real bank account, a digital footprint that goes back more than a few months?
And the author has this perfect aphorism for it. Language is cheap, structure is expensive.
It's the defining rule of a cognitive age. Anyone can copy-paste a beautiful philosophy, but building a real, verifiable, consistent identity in business, that takes time and money. It's hard.
And these guys had the language, but they had a hollow middle. There was no there.
Yes, word.
So you're the author. You're seeing these signals, the weird discipline, the payment chaos, the glitchy identity. But you've invested weeks. You want this project to be real. How do you get out without blowing everything up?
That's the hardest part. The social pressure to just go along with it is huge. Nobody wants to be the one to call it out and be wrong.
Right. So the author didn't just go with their gut. They used a specific toolkit.
Let's walk through it because this is the practical takeaway for everyone listening. Tool number 1, systems thinking.
Meaning, stop looking at the individuals. People can lie. People can be charming. Interrogate the system.
How does that look in practice?
You ignore the nice apology in the email, and you look at the actual wire instructions. You watch how requests flow. When you push on the system, does it flex, or does it just break into more excuses?
Got it. Okay, tool 2, emotional intelligence. And this is the tactical version.
Yeah, this isn't about being nice. It's about data. The author felt that anxiety, that pressure to just fix the payment. We all know that feeling.
You want to be helpful, be the problem solver.
Exactly. But the author's reframe was to treat those emotions as data, not commands.
I like that. Data, not commands.
Yeah. That feeling of being rushed is data that someone is pushing you. It is not a command for you to actually rush.
Yeah.
It lets you step back and ask, why do I feel this way right now?
Okay, tool 3. I think this one is my favorite. Strategic foresight, or the 30-day question.
This just cuts through all the noise. The author asked themselves one simple question. If this continues for 30 more days, does clarity increase or decrease?
And the answer is obvious.
Completely unambiguous.
Yeah.
In any real project, even a messy one, things slowly get clearer. The fog lifts. But here, the author knew that in 30 days, it would only be more confusing. The entropy was increasing. That was the signal to get out.
And the last one, tool 4, anticipatory governance.
It just means choosing restraint. It means you refuse to take irreversible actions. You don't send the final work. You don't send the money. You preserve your optionality.
Yeah.
You keep the door open to just walk away.
So you have the signals, you apply the tools. What happens? Is there a big showdown?
No. And that's maybe the most important part of the whole story. It wasn't one single smoking gun. It was just the convergence of high rhetorical alignment, great words, with low verifiable grounding.
So what do?
They just disengaged. Quietly. Closed the accounts they'd opened, made sure their exposure was zero, and just stopped replying.
And the outcome?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing happened. No money was lost. No public drama. The scammers just vanished.
You know, we're so conditioned to think success means, catching the bad guy and having that aha moment.
But success in the cognitive age is a non-event. That is the win. Failure isn't some big explosion. It's the slow accumulation of tiny concessions you make in the name of progress. The author won because nothing happened.
It really changes what it means to be smart now. It's not about being the fastest. It's about having the discipline to hit pause.
The integrity of judgment. The biggest failures aren't tech failures. They're judgment failures under acceleration. The whole world wants you to move faster.
And the cognitive age will punish that kind of speed if it's not backed up by structure.
Exactly. It punishes people who outsource judgment because speed feels safer than sitting with uncertainty.
So let's leave our listeners with that checklist. You meet someone, they speak your language perfectly. What questions do you ask?
You ask 4 things. 1, does the structure match the language? They talk a big game, but can they execute a simple payment? 2, does friction decrease over time? Do things get easier or harder? 3, is their identity stable across contexts? LinkedIn, email, phone calls. Doesn't all line up.
And the big one?
And 4, the big one. Does pausing strengthen clarity, or does it just create panic on their end?
If pausing makes them panic, that tells you everything you need to know.
Exactly. If they respect you need to pause, they're a professional. If they start throwing more jargon at you to rush you, you run.
Pausing is not weakness. It is governance. I think that's the quote of the day.
Absolutely. We need to reclaim the right to just be slow and deliberate.
This whole deep dive really makes me rethink friction. I normally hate it. I want everything to be seamless, but maybe the right kind of friction is the only thing that keeps us safe.
It's the difference between a door that's stuck and a door that's locked. One is an annoyance. The other is there for a reason.
Well said. We're going to leave you with that thought. In a world obsessed with speed, maybe the ultimate power move is just to stand still and ask, is any of this real?
The cognitive age won't punish you for moving slowly. It'll punish you for moving blindly.
Thanks for diving in with us.
Stay sharp out there.